Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, I want to talk about something a little different, something a bit more personal. It started a few weeks ago, right here in this room. It was one of those quiet, rainy afternoons, the kind that makes you feel a bit reflective. I was cleaning out an old bookshelf, dusting off things I hadn't touched in years when I found it. Tucked away behind a stack of paperbacks was an old journal. The cover was faded, and the corners were bent. I almost tossed it aside, but something made me open it. As I flipped through the yellowed pages, it was like stepping into a time machine. The handwriting was a younger, more hopeful version of my own. Page after page was filled with dreams, plans, and goals. I'd written down things I wanted to learn, places I wanted to see, and the person I wanted to become. There it was in faded blue ink. Learn to play the guitar. A few pages later, run a half marathon, and then a big one. Start my own creative project from scratch. Reading those words, a strange mix of nostalgia and sadness washed over me. These weren't just forgotten ideas. They were promises I had made to myself, promises that had gotten buried under the avalanche of daily life. The silence in my room suddenly felt deafening. Each forgotten goal seemed to echo with the sound of my own excuses. I don't have time. I'm too tired. I'll start tomorrow. The dust from the pages was literally tickling my nose, and it felt symbolic, like I was allergic to my own past ambitions. It was a heavy, uncomfortable feeling. I sat there for a long time, just staring at the ink, at the ghost of a younger me who believed anything was possible. In that moment, I realized something crucial. Life hadn't stolen these dreams from me. I had willingly, albeit slowly, let them go. I traded grand adventures for comfortable routines and passionate pursuits for passive entertainment. I had chosen the path of least resistance, and it led me to a place where my biggest dreams were now just dusty entries in a forgotten book. It was a tough pill to swallow. I felt a pang of regret, not for failing, but for never even trying. But then, something shifted. Sitting there with that open journal in my lap, the sadness started to morph into something else. It was a spark, a tiny flickering flame of determination. I wasn't that person anymore, the one who made those lists. Life had changed me. But why did that mean I had to give up on those dreams entirely? Maybe they just needed a different approach, a more mature, realistic plan. With a hand that felt strangely clumsy, I picked up a pen. The journal had one last, empty page at the back. It felt intimidating. What could I possibly write that would honor the spirit of those old entries? I decided to keep it simple. I wrote just one new line, a single, achievable goal for the next day. My hand cramped a little, not from the effort, but from the weight of the honesty behind it. It wasn't a grand declaration. It was a quiet, personal commitment. That one line became my anchor. The next morning, the world didn't magically change. It was still dark when my alarm went off. The temptation to hit snooze was immense. But the image of that journal, of that single new line, was fresh in my mind. I got up. I didn't feel like a superhero. I felt tired. But I made my coffee, and as I took that first bitter sip, I looked at the small checklist I'd made. The goal was tiny, almost laughable. But checking it off an hour later, that felt monumental. This became my new ritual. I revived that journal, not as a museum of past dreams, but as a living, breathing roadmap. Every morning, with the sunrise, I'd add one or two small, actionable items. Practice guitar chords for 15 minutes. Go for a 10-minute jog. Write 100 words for the new project. These weren't the huge, intimidating goals from my youth. They were bite-sized pieces, manageable steps that chipped away at the mountain of neglect I had built. The process was slow, and honestly, some days were a total failure. There were mornings I just couldn't get out of bed, and evenings where I chose watching TV over practicing. The old habits, the comfortable inertia, they fight back. They are stubborn. But here's the secret I learned. Consistency is more important than intensity. It's not about the one heroic 5-hour session. It's about the small 15-minute efforts, day after day. It's about showing up for yourself, even when you don't feel like it. Gradually, I started to notice a change. The awkward fumbling on the guitar started to sound a little more like music. The 10-minute jogs became 15, then 20. The ambition I thought was dead wasn't dead at all. It was just dormant. These small daily habits were like water and sunlight, resurrecting it from the grave of neglect I had dug for it. The feeling of making progress, however small, was incredibly energizing. It was a momentum that started to feed on itself. The biggest lesson in all of this is that it's never too late to pick up a forgotten dream. Your past ambitions don't expire. They might need to be adapted, updated for the person you are today, but their essence is still valid. That dusty journal wasn't a testament to my failures. It was a map to a part of myself I had lost. And the best part? The map is still usable. So, I want to ask you, is there a dusty journal in your life? It might not be a literal book. It could be an old instrument in the corner of your room, a pair of running shoes in the back of your closet, or just a dream you haven't let yourself think about in years. Maybe it's time to dust it off. You don't have to conquer the world tomorrow. Just write one new line. Take one small step. Show up for that dream for just 15 minutes. You might be amazed at who you find waiting on the other side. Thank you so much for listening to my story today. If this resonated with you, I'd love to hear about it in the comments. What's a forgotten goal you'd like to revive? If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe for more content about living a more intentional life. It really helps the channel grow. Thanks again, and I'll see you in the next one.